Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Mindset Kitchen podcast with your host, Sheyaf Hashim, and my bro, Kareem. Hey Kareem, how's it going, man?
What's up, Chef? Welcome back, guys, to the show. Excited to be jumping in today.
Cool. So we have a very minimalistic topic today. Okay. I don't know if you go. So today, this is one of those topics that me and Kareem discuss quite a lot. And in the past 2 or 3 episodes, we've been talking about where Kareem spends most of his time online, looking at tech reviews and how he ends up buying stuff which sometimes he feels, he could live without. And me as well. So we got speaking about this concept, which is minimalism. And I think this is a concept which actually got very famous, or more and more millennials and started talking about. I think 3 or 4 years back, the first documentary came out on Netflix, which was talking about minimalism. And I think recently they had a second documentary as well. So I know Kareem has a lot to speak about it today, because even I have my perspectives on it. So I will let Kareem jump right in. So bro, tell me, for the people who don't understand what is minimalism, or this is the first time they're going to listen to it, how would you describe minimalism in a nutshell?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, minimalism is more than a furniture style. It's definitely there's definitely a strong connection to mindset there. To me, as I'm learning it, like minimalism is really a way to live an intentional life, and to surround yourself with things that give you meaning and add more value to your life, as opposed to just buying stuff for the purpose of accumulating more and more stuff. And a lot of people think that minimalism equals, you live on a budget, you basically have like 3 items and that's it that you own. You could actually have a lot of items, I suppose, but but it's really about this notion of making sure that every single thing that you own delivers a value, and it's something that you use on a regular basis, not something that you sometimes use from time to time, and it's not something that is valuable. You don't use it all, but this is the biggest one for me. Having something that's perfectly fine, it's not broken, it's not torn, it is valuable, but it just doesn't add value to me, but yet I still want to keep on holding on to it. So minimalism is this idea that, if you are in this situation, you should either sell it or donate it, but really always keep yourself accountable to the things that add meaning to your life. And in a weird way, this is actually going to create so much space in your life, both physical space, and what's even more important than physical space, Chef, is creating mental space as well. And you get to a stage where your stuff doesn't own you. If you have a lot of stuff, a lot of subscriptions, you have to work harder to sustain this crazy lifestyle, this unnecessary lifestyle, as opposed to using the things that you only need. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
I think that is because I just while I was listening to in a nutshell about minimalism, I just remembered, for example, the documentary, when I watched it for 3 or 4 years back. And there is a very interesting person that I know, one of my very close friends. And I remember, for example, I recall this guy, for example, he does not, he uses a very basic phone. He's not on social media. I think we mentioned about this guy in one of the episodes. And I remember him telling me, check out this documentary that I saw. And when I watched this episode, initially, me being me, I was just trying to see, what is the fuss all about? So I did not see the whole documentary. I was running through it. And the first impression that I got was, like you said, is how you can have your whole life in a suitcase. Like, for example, everything that you own. And one of the main guys, I don't know what is his name. I keep forgetting, the guy with the long hair, the main guy. So you can see everything that he owns, like as a laptop, there is 2 pairs of clothes, there's a boot, there's a pair of shoes, a hairdryer, and some other stuff all in a suitcase. So this was his life. So I think, as always, many people, now it's been 5 to 10 years, or 5 or 7 years since this concept became so famous. So many people actually, I think this is what they took away, is about the physical things. Where I remember like people having very less stuff, or like you said, it's not about the furniture, having like very minimalistic design. But moving on, and this is for sure, we are in Mindset Kitchen podcast. So today, what I would like to see, I want to discuss with you, and we can have a chat about, is how we can actually connect the concepts which, are there to a mindset perspective. Yeah. So just to understand this better, yeah, bro. So currently, all of us, the kind of lives do we that we live. Okay, do you think it is minimalist in nature?
It's a great question because I guess it really comes down to, you know, what might seem minimalist to you might be maximalist to someone else. Really, everyone has. The good news is that no one can judge it for you. Only you can really tell if you're surrounded by stuff that you actually need or you don't. But I'm willing to bet that all of us, Chef, you and me included, anyone listening included, probably we can get better at that, and probably we have a bunch of stuff that we don't really need. We could probably sell that, or we could probably donate that. And it's not about making money, or it's not about because you don't physically have space. Don't physically have space is a great motivator. But beyond that as well, like, again, I just keep coming back to this point, man. Like the mental space. I've really been reading a lot, man. Like about on like the mental. They call it like mental minimalism, or like mental decluttering. Sorry, where it's like because you don't have that much stuff around, your mind itself is clear and pure. You don't have all this, crap that's just sitting in your mind taking space, because taking space in your mind, that's even worse than physical space.
Definitely. And something very interesting that I wanted to again try and correlate this is you mentioned about decluttering. There are a lot of I think there is a whole series or a season of one of
Marie Kondo,
yeah, Marie Kondo, yeah.
yeah.
And this has gotten so much traction where I've been visiting some of my family members, even in my house, without me even discussing this. I can see the after effects because I have Netflix. I can see all of a sudden one day I open my wardrobe and I can see things are different, and I'm like, wow, how does this happen? I saw this show, Marie Kondo, like about decluttering. I'm like, wow, this is very nice. But coming back to it, when you think, I honestly believe, the question that I asked, what do you think the kind of lives do we live now? Okay, you told me, for example, what do you think? But I honestly believe the kind of cultures, let's say we are in the Asian cultures, let's say in the Desi cultures that we come from, I think we are the opposite of minimalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Egyptian culture
opposite
as well.
of minimalism. Yeah. Opposite of minimalism in the sense, I will start with the physical stuff. Okay. Physical stuff in the sense, people generally like to hoard stuff, and it could be anything. Like one of
Gifts.
the biggest thing is, yeah, it could be gifts. It could be, sometimes it's not about getting new stuff. The biggest problem that I usually notice even within my house, okay, at one point of time, the most difficult thing is getting rid of stuff that we don't use anymore. Okay, getting rid of stuff. It could be donating. It could be sometimes even throwing stuff out. Okay, that does not need. And this is where you actually see. End of the day, just imagine, Kareem, you're living in a room, and this is where the correlation happens. If you're in a room which is extremely cluttered, there is a lot of stuff. Okay, and the moment you start decluttering, and the room becomes very like minimalist, like you just have a sofa, you have a table, and you only have the bare minimal. I think this starts helping you to actually even have that. I mean, this is the beginning of the journey for some people.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I've
100%,
tried.
yeah.
Because I've tried this, because in the last 2 years I shifted my place. Okay, and I'm looking at it in my personal experience. The previous house that I used to live, for example, my dad is a collector of particular things, okay, from a particular era, and whenever we used to shift, that used to come along with us. Okay, and as time grew, that particular kind of articles kept growing. Okay, and what happened was, I keep telling my dad, like, for example, he's very much interested into, this old school the what do you call the sound systems, the amplifiers and all these things.
Record players?
No, not the record players. Right after the record players. Okay, you have all these old brands. Yeah, cassette, but they are like, we call it stereo, hi-fi stereo systems.
Oh, yeah, like the boombox and the stereos, yeah.
Yeah, so my dad, even now, for example, he has stuff from the 70s.
Wow.
Okay, but the funny thing is, it's not there in my home anymore. It's in some random warehouse. But it was very difficult. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, it was very difficult, because what used to happen is these things are very bulky. And for example, it's very difficult to actually, make space. And when you stuff it in one part of your home, you're always seeing it. Okay. And when you're always seeing it, you feel like, like you say, when you have more, you have to constantly worry about upkeeping, making sure it does not get spoiled, or what will happen if something happens. Like, for example, if you go out, you have one more new thing. And what happened eventually is, when initially it was not called like throwing out, we said, let's move it somewhere else. Now it's been through 2-3 years that I've moved to this new place. My dad has completely forgot about it. He does not even know where it is. So this is a small example of most of the stuff that we actually hoard. Physical stuff.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, like when you said about the warehouse thing, I was gonna talk about that, man, because I was gonna say it, and I'll just keep it. We're always honest on the show, so I'll keep it honest. But the number one sign that you have too much stuff is that you need to rent additional space to store that stuff, because you're right, like right, like out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. So
out of mind.
It's been years, and I bet you, like, if and this could be with anyone, but if you challenge this person to write down on a piece of paper the things that they own, they won't probably remember like all the stuff that they actually own and maybe should not own. And just to give you a similar example to what you were talking about, like me and my wife, we've also moved recently from one city to another city. And basically we are kind of like in transition at the moment, because we're going to move to another place. So we decided, okay, for now, let's just keep everything in boxes, and let's just open like 1 or 2 boxes, like the stuff we actually need. The rest of the stuff will be for the final destination, And so now this is what I told my wife. Secretly, I also had an additional agenda, an ulterior motive, which is, let me also challenge let me also challenge myself to see how long I can keep myself away from all these boxes of so-called things that I need. By the way, it's still early in the journey, but let's say it's been a month and a half now, actually almost 2 months now. And really, I have not unpacked any of the other boxes, which goes to show that, do we even really need the stuff that's there,
Exactly, bro. And bro, I have a very good example to go along with the same thing. Yeah, what you're saying. So, like 2-3 years back, I was I was very specific about mobile phones. Okay, the kind of phones that I use. Okay, so I always had a liking to particular Samsung Note models. Okay, so I had the Note 8, I had the Note 9, and as I would have gotten the Note 10 as well. So what happened is, 2 years back, when I got the brand new Note 9, which is like a very powerful phone, and it has waterproof, so I went swimming with the nephews, and it fell off my pocket and it went to the bottom of the pool. It stayed there for 30 minutes and the phone was done. Khalas. I took it, no warranty, nothing. So what I did was, I had this FOMO, like, oh man, I don't have the pen now. I don't have the high definition camera now. I don't have all this stuff. So I need to get the same phone. I need to get it replaced. And it was quite expensive at that. It was like close to $1,200 for that phone. Okay. So what happened was, I said, let me say, just for 2 weeks, because I was traveling, I needed a phone immediately. I got like a very, very basic phone, which is a Samsung phone. Again, a Samsung, but it's like fraction 20% of its cost, which has a camera, which has 2 SIM cards. You will not believe, bro, a year and a half actually passed, I've been using that same phone.
Nice. Which phone is it?
Third or fourth, bro, it is a Samsung A6. Okay. Until what happened is, the phone gave up. Now, the video people are seeing, I'm actually recording from my phone as well. Now, also, I'm using a very similar phone, which is like, compared to the Note 9, Note 10, it is like 20% of how much it costs, or 30% of how much it costs. Yep. I just realized I don't need a fancy phone.
Yeah.
And the phone that I have, I'm taking the juice out of it. Like, for example, all the past 4 or 5 episodes that you see, I've recorded from my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only thing I use my phone is for calling people. More than calling, I use it for instant messaging, for Slack, emails, Instagram. Yes, I'm a heavy Instagram user. When I use on weekends and stuff like this, I take pictures. I mean, other than that, I never needed that pen.
Yeah.
I never needed that extra 2 GB of RAM. I did not need that fancy processor, because I don't game. I don't do. So I'm like, many things, when you decide, like when you put those things into boxes, or when it disappears from your life, this is when you realize you can still live and you have less to worry. Now, this phone that I have,
100%.
I worry less compared to a Note 9 or an iPhone 12 Pro Max, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a fortune in my pocket. Like, for example, it's literally a lot of money. So this phone, even if it falls, something gets spoiled, I don't worry, because it's not that expensive.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's true. And just to add to that, so the sun started to come up here in Ireland. It's slowly becoming March. Becoming March. Yeah, becoming spring, I was gonna say, which is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal here because it means it's less rain and more sun. And bro,
Mm-hmm.
like now we're somewhere out like near like forests and sea and mountain like so I'm watching all these videos now on like I shifted from tech reviews and uh, because I decided to get the Samsung I decided to get the Samsung S6 Lite tablet, not because I need it, but also because I figured the value of my
Kareem, bro.
bro, the value of my time to
You
like
know
I
that we are
bought
talking about minimalism now,
no.
and
I'm
you
gonna
made
I'm
one
gonna
more
sell
purchase
some
last
other
week, which
things.
I know.
What? I'm gonna sell some
I
other
know that you
things
made.
that
Okay.
yeah to offset it, but the point is I also bought it because it will help me get back my time so that I can stop watching these reviews just to get the damn thing. But that's one thing.
I think that's what they say, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But one thing when now I'm watching like outdoor videos, camping and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
How to start a fire from scratch, like how to find a good spot, kayaking, all
Kareem, you
that.
should just ask me, bro. You should just ask me instead
Oh,
of wasting
that's
time
right.
on
That's
YouTube.
right.
Yeah. Anyways,
But the
go
point
ahead. Go
is,
ahead. Yeah.
there's one thing, there's one term that I've come across of something that you may or may not know. It's called bushcraft. Okay, do you know what this is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Basically,
bushcraft.
okay.
Yeah. So bushcraft is basically it's a hobby, but it's like a thing that people do. It's a pastime where
Mm-hmm.
basically, and I hope I do this justice, but basically it's the art of living in the woods and like
Yeah, surviving
inventing
in
the
the woods.
stuff.
Yeah.
And inventing the stuff that you need. So like, like it's not just about starting fires and stuff like that. It's like also like some of it is like sewing, knitting stuff and sewing stuff, and basically getting the joy of like going back to simple living and just building your own stuff, building your own just stuff in general. And there's such a joy that comes out of that, even with like starting a fire. Again, not to go too deep on the topic, but like I think they call it flint and I don't know what they call it, flint
I know.
and
I know.
steel. It's like the thing that you keep like just like tapping against each other until it creates that spark, and that's how you get the
Creates
fire
fun.
going.
Yeah.
And
I
some
mean,
people
bro.
say, yeah,
Next season, if you come to Dubai, I'm going to show you. The joy
how
of
to
all
how
this
to
stuff.
actually how to
I
actually
mean,
do it.
In Dubai, the actual joy is going to the desert and making yourself a correct tea by yourself
Yep,
with the right balance.
yep,
You feel like you've accomplished a lot in life. But
a
anyways,
lot. But just the
coming,
final thing
but,
I'll say on this is that they say that there's a joy of really learning how to make it from scratch than just using a lighter, and so
yeah.
tying that to your point, it's not that minimalism is good but your life sucks. No, your life actually improves. You have less worry and you get to really enjoy something for what it is, and not having all the additional bells and whistles. But yeah, go ahead.
Just to connect this, right? Like, so if you're going to directly correlate, so one thing that we in the documentary or this whole concept, what they speak about is, value experiences more than tangible stuff. For example, yeah. And one of the things is they also talk about be very specific of the stuff that you allow, like the physical stuff that comes in your life. At the same time, the kind of things that come into not just your home, in your life, could be people. Now, if you're talking about let's say minimalism in friends, for example, like having a very small group of friends. Okay. If no, seriously, literally, I've actually seen this. No, the smaller the group of friends, the thicker you are.
The tighter
For
the
example,
circle, yeah. Nice.
the tighter the circle, yeah, you can have a lot of people. So I think minimalism is something that you can actually really, really focus on. And one of the things about decluttering, instead of focusing on decluttering more, you should think of owning less. The same thing comes towards your mindset. So
Yes.
if you feel, for example, you're overloaded with a lot of tasks or overloaded with so much things, and this is something that I did beginning of this year, which in the past 2 episodes that I've mentioned about, I felt, for example, there are so many things that I was actually doing. Okay. So when this year started, part of my plan was to actually declutter. I did not think, my aim was not to become minimalist in that sense. But when we are talking about this topic, I can actually see how much
Yep.
peace of mind it actually gave. So literally, like say in your massive apartment or house, the way stuff takes place, like takes real estate, similarly that extra person or that extra worry or that extra task which you don't really need end of the day, does take your mental space as well. And
Yes.
one more thing I want to actually connect to this is, like Kareem said, you actually told this as well. It's not about buying less stuff also end of the day. It's about I was just telling you before the show. So this guy that I follow, Ramit Sethi, he always talks about something which I've implemented in my life actively. So you cut mercilessly on the things that you don't like, or that the things that you feel does not bring value in your life,
Like what?
or does not make you happy. Okay. For example, the example of my phone, even though I could have gotten an iPhone 12 Pro Max, like I literally, last two weeks before, one of my colleagues actually told me this. He listens to the podcast quite often. He will know. He told me, Sheyaf, I think you should have a Pro Max because it does not fit with the suit that you're wearing. And when you're going to the client meeting, like we have very few client meetings these days because of COVID. But even when I'm wearing a suit and going, I'm like, the phone does not suit. I'm like, I don't care. But instead, so I cut mercilessly on those areas. But
Yeah.
I spend like 10 times more money on the hobbies that I have. The hobbies, for example, which make me really happy end of the day. Like, for example, I spend a lot of time, we were talking about camping and all this stuff. The amount of camping accessories that I have accumulated in the past 5 years,
It's
I don't care, bro.
ridiculous.
Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. So I can go like on a weekend now. Alhamdulillah, I have enough stuff with me. So I can actually go for like 3 or 4 days in the forest or desert. I can actually live there with my family. I have all the stuff that I actually need.
Wow.
Okay. And
Bro, I'll
latest
come
stuff, for
to you
example,
when we
I-
have if there's an apocalypse, I'll come to you, bro.
Yeah, seriously. So I'm saying it's all about end of the day. Minimalism could also be about cutting all the things, mercilessly cutting. Like, for example, if you don't like XYZ, like, for example, if you're not into food, mercilessly cut
Yes.
expenses
And
on
can I say
food.
something, because you said it but you didn't even realize that which is what I love about what you said is that cutting mercilessly, and in your case I love the hobbies example, but what I love as well, Chef, that you alluded to is the fact that you can actually become a maximalist in that thing
Yeah.
that you like. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things, right? For example, we've discussed over and over again is be a minimalist when it comes to your time. For example, be very intentional. Okay,
Yep.
like we've discussed this many times. Like, for example, the best way, if you're decluttering or if you want to achieve minimalistic mindset, look at all the stuff that you're actually doing right now, or the kind of things that you're involved in. If it's not aligning
100%.
to where you want to go in life, okay, this is definitely some decluttering is needed.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
this could
and
be-
I think and just to add one thing from my side, like I think if anyone is like me out there, like I love like being obsessed with tools, like the tools that will help me to create something. And many times I keep thinking we just need a better tool, a better camera for this, just a better lens, just a better cable, just a better this. Oh, now we just need just a better computer, and it's all gonna come together. You know what? That's that better keyboard, and one of the
or
one
a
of the
better
great,
Samsung tab.
No. I have a very good case for the Samsung Tab, which
It's okay, bro.
we can talk about
I'm just pulling
in
you
a
like,
separate
yeah,
episode. But yeah, I'll talk about the tablet at another time. But
Yeah.
but the point is, like it's like being able to take the tools that you have and creatively challenge yourself to come
Make
up
the
with
best out of it,
something
yeah.
cool. One of the things, not to get too deep on this, but like what makes a game fun, like a video game fun, or even like a regular game like Monopoly or whatever, is the restrictions. It's a
Yeah.
game. If anything is possible and anybody can win and anybody can lose, it's stupid. It's pointless.
True.
But the whole point is, Sheyaf, is if I tell you, Sheyaf, we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna give you this piece of paper. You have to draw a car, but you have 30 seconds to draw the most realistic car. Now it's a game because it's 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. So I think specifically for creative people, because we know a lot of people are creative and may have creative tendencies to listen to the show. How do you creatively challenge yourself to make do with your so-called terrible phone? It's probably not that terrible at all. Or with your ancient computer, it's probably just fine. Or, a keyboard, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, uh, I think makes because suddenly it just reminded me like any part of the world where there is there is very least, right? The most things come out of there. Like people, if
Yes.
you do a simple Google search of all these inventors, young guys, be it in Asian or African countries, you will see the amount of stuff. Like their life is already so minimalistic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah. And
minimalistic.
they're happy. They're the happiest
Yeah,
people.
and they're so happy, and
Yeah.
the kind of output they give. And one final thought that I want to actually leave also, one point which I remember reading and coming across was one of the reasons people don't go or let go of things, for example, when they're decluttering, is this scarcity mindset. Okay, we spoke about abundance. Okay, scarcity mindset is, for example, when you feel just in case, what if I need this?
So, yeah.
And in Kareem's case, in my case, I used to buy the best phone thinking just in case, what if I ended up becoming a filmmaker who needs to make 4K movies with a steady shot. That is
What
why,
if I want to go skydiving tomorrow?
yeah, just in case, what if I want to dive 30 meters below? This
Yeah.
is why, like for example, that no, I'm not dissing Samsung Note. I love that phone. Yeah, even now, if you give it more free, if you're buying it for me, I'll take it from you, Kareem. But anyways,
No issues, bro.
the pen,
I'll write it down.
I mean, the pen, for example, is something. When you think about it, I used to use it, and I felt I could not live without it. But I don't feel any
Yeah.
difference of it not being in my life right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that mindset, right? And the same thing you can implement. There are a lot of people in your life. There are a lot of things that you're doing in your life that you don't let go, feeling that just in case, what if
Yes.
this person, might help me at one point of day, or it could be what if just in case I will keep in touch with these people, so that what if in 2 years I come to a situation where they'll help me. And this
Okay,
is
I have,
only-
I have a I have a question because I love this. I love where you're going with this with the just in case thing. What if the case happens? If you know what I mean. What if that case finally happens?
Okay.
What do you do in this case?
obstacle is the way, bro. I mean, okay, I'm just joking.
Bro,
okay.
I need to slow down, man. You're dropping too many bars.
Okay, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. In reality, these are the cases or relationships or situations which are kind of pulling you down or harming you in some way. So if it is a person or a situation which is not taking in of your energy or your time, it's completely fine.
Yes.
But if there is something that is actually pulling you down or it's making you heavy, like in your house, if you have this massive piece of furniture which is actually taking up so much space, then it's a problem. Or a person or a situation or a task or a job that is actually pulling you down. If not, it's not something that you need to be worried about. And in the case, for example, let's say you reach. When you reach, we'll see how it goes. Like I said,
Yep.
you take the
You can
challenge.
sell your old stuff.
Yeah, like you can always do something around. So overall, the main takeaway is try, if people who are listening about minimalism for the first time, try to understand more about this, see the documentary, but more or less, rather than the physical stuff, think of how you can actually develop this into a mindset
Yes.
altogether. So
Yes.
I hope you guys found value, and I really enjoyed this particular episode.
Me too.
Yeah, so guys, that's all from us. We are on time today. We will catch you guys in the next episode. If you have any questions, let us know. As usual, subscribe, leave comments, and anything you want us to cover as topics, we'll be more than happy to. So that's all from us, guys. We will see you in the next episode. Take
See you
care
guys.
and have a lovely week. Bye-bye.